Trauma doesn't make you stronger. Trauma doesn't happen for a reason. There's no good reason that anybody needs to be raped. Trauma creates more trauma. It doesn't create resiliency. You, as a survivor, have to create and cognitively and subconsciously create the resiliency in yourself and make a new mission for yourself and grind and tell yourself that you're going to live differently and healthy, and you're going to find a way to overcome what's happened to you. But it does not make you stronger. I'm Simone Schwartz. I'm a military sexual trauma survivor, and I speak out about my rape in the military because I don't want this to happen again, because it affected my life so negatively. Yes, right now it seems like, okay, she's written a book, she's talking about it. Wow, look how strong she is. That's survival. And that's my drive to try to have this never happen again to people, to inform people not only of the act of violence, but it wasn't just the act of violence in the military that destroyed my life. It was much more the cover-ups, the culture where you're not even free to speak out, where you're re-victimized and you're made fun of over and over again. The paperwork that comes with people trying to silence you about you being the victim, the DARVO, but the legal DARVO, the governmental systems that silence survivors. And now we're seeing this on news, right? The e-files. You're seeing how this has worked for hundreds of years on smaller levels. And even now, some people are still not understanding what's going on with the e-files because they're trying to cover such a big thing up. And people aren't even listening to that. But I experienced that firsthand on a micro level. But the systems are all the same. And the people in charge are all the same. And I don't just mean men. I mean patriarchal women who, in order to keep these positions of power, have to double down on being patriarchal and misogynistic, or else they themselves will be harassed. So it's the whole system of silencing truth and victims and leading them to utter destruction of their lives just to keep the system going, just to keep people in power and keep grunts in the military signing over their life, thinking that it's a great thing. But trauma leads to more trauma. Like I said, myself as a survivor and now as an advocate and a life coach and somebody that shares their story to help others, that is where I found my purpose in the trauma. But trauma doesn't make you stronger. It makes you addicted. It makes you homeless. It makes you voiceless. It makes you not wanting to use your voice. But the healing work you have to put in, that is very important so you can get your power back and want to scream a big F you to the systems that allow this to keep happening. That's where we need to get in our healing journey, and that's where I love doing this work with others, because it took me too long, I feel, to get to this point. And in 2026, we need to be on a fast track of healing. You can't take your whole life to heal and find your voice. There's too much trauma still happening. And as I said, if you've been victimized once, you're more than likely to have it happen again. So healing and finding a new reason for healthy living, that's imperative. And it can happen even in these horrible systems. But if we don't find that healing and don't find our strength, we're not here to speak out against these systems. And that's an issue, because just healing and going on your merry own way and not thinking about the rest of the society and why we got here, that can't happen. Okay. I'm not going to just sit here and never call out the big army and never call out the commanders in charge that allowed this to happen and try to silence me. I'm not doing it anymore. You can't touch me. You can try, as you still do, but I'm not scared anymore. But it took a long time to get here. So listen, if you're a survivor, PTSD is real, but it's treatable. And I just want to say that all the survivors out there, you are strong and you do have it in you to lead a healthy life, not let the trauma dictate your future. It's taken enough. Peace, y'all.